Welcome back. Time now for Legal Lowdown. Today we have some interesting ones to talk about here to help us guide through all of these cases. Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Yodit Tewolde. Yodit, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so you don't often hear about cops suing other cops, but here goes. The city of New York is suing the town of Mount Pleasant, New York, for hiring an NYPD officer less than a year after he graduated from the academy. Now, part of the lawsuit filed last week reads this. The city incurred all of Officer Cardion's police training expenses, including but not limited to salary, pension, and benefits during training, as well as costs of the police academy. Now, the city claims it sent Mount Pleasant a $47,000 bill, but they ignored it. Yodit, do they have a case here?
They absolutely do, and they actually admitted that they've settled with the NYPD before for an amount. And this sort of ironically reminds me of a woman who's dating a man and has invested all this time and energy into molding this man into the man of her dreams, and then he dumps her and moves on with someone else and becomes that man for someone else. So absolutely, they invest $47,000. The NYPD wants their money back. I mean, it wasn't fair for this guy to go and get all the training and everything that he learned at the NYPD and then, you know, is hired somewhere else within what, not even less than a year. So absolutely.
But what about if contractually it doesn't say that you have to serve a certain amount of time in NYPD before leaving? I mean, if it doesn't say that, then why do you have to?
Well, this other agency has already said that they would work something out and that it was a lack of communication, so to speak. So they're already saying that, you know what, we are wrong and we will pay you something, but why did it have to come to a lawsuit?
Right. All right. So there's a certain point when one is traveling somewhere that they think maybe a bus is better than a plane. So here it goes. Serial stowaway Marilyn Hartman. She's been busted again, this time outside of a flight terminal at Chicago O'Hare Airport. Hartman was just released from jail for a similar charge in December. She was even wearing an ankle bracelet when she was arrested. Yodit, this is a serial offender. She is over 60 years old. She's been to jail already. It doesn't sound to me like that is working. What other options do officials have here with her?
They need to actually admit her into some sort of program because obviously, like you said, probation isn't working, jail isn't working, so her offenses right now are being enhanced. They're wasting time and they're wasting funds putting her into jail when she's only going to come out doing the same thing. So obviously she's mentally disturbed and she needs some help. So they actually need to just forgo the probation or jail and actually admit her into some sort of facility for treatment.
Do you think her age is going to work for her in this scenario?
Absolutely. I mean, and I think she, bounced around from like 4 to 5 cities.
Yeah.
So there's something mentally disturbed about this woman. I mean, she needs some stability, and that's what she's lacking. So,
all right,
absolutely.
A story that we've been talking about for quite a while, Bill Cosby, he's now hitting back at one of his accusers. He's actually suing her. He filed a breach of contract lawsuit against Andrea Constant. She was a former Temple University employee whose accusations led to the only criminal charges filed against Bill Cosby. He says that she violated a previous civil settlement, and he's asking for all of the money that he paid her in return. So, Yodit, he's arguing she broke the terms of the settlement by cooperating with police, who then reopened the criminal case against him last year. Does he have a chance to get that money back?
You know, I'm afraid that this whole thing is sending the wrong message in terms of if you have money, you can actually buy your way out of criminal court. But we're not talking about a rape here. We're talking about contracts. And if there was a clause in this agreement that said, we settle for a certain amount of money and you keep quiet, and she didn't, then yeah, it is a breach of contract and she should pay up. The problem is, this wasn't a situation where she went willingly to the police and tried to have this case reopened. If you remember, the AP had a judge make this civil deposition in 2005 public. And at that point, it's what he said that caught wind, and the DAs wanted to reopen this case. So if they did go and try and talk to her, which I'm sure they did, and she was voluntarily, you know, submitting to that, then yes, there was a breach of contract. But the DAs could have easily just sent out a subpoena. And then at that point, she would have a legal duty to speak under a subpoena.
Quickly, could this have just been a tactic on behalf of the defense?
Absolutely. He has a very, very smart legal team, so I would not be surprised that this was some sort of legal defense for the upcoming criminal charge that he's facing right now.
Yodit Tewolde, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right.